Alright, today we're going to talk about slopes of lines, section 3.5. Again, finding slope should be reviewed from Algebra 1. Today we'll kind of add into it some geometry concepts dealing with slope though. But slope itself should be review of Algebra 1. So, vocabulary here, rise and run. Do you all remember learning slope as rise over run? Okay, yeah, slope is the rise over the run. But yeah, here it is. Rise is the difference in the y values of 2 points on a coordinate plane, or yeah, on a line. And then run is the difference in the x values. So rise is when I go up, run is when I go across. So rise over run. Alright? And then slope, this is the big one here. You'll want to have this formula written down. Slope is the measure of the steepness of a line. If x1, y1, and x2, y2 are any 2 points on the line, the slope of the line, known as m, is represented by the equation m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Again, the slope formula, you want to write that down. You're going to be using that a lot today. Do you all remember the slope formula? Seen it before? Familiar? Good. It is on the board here. If you look up actually on the board, the whiteboard is over there. If you look on the posters, there is a poster over here that talks about slope. The poster kind of doesn't do a very good job of it, but it does kind of show it as slope there. Alright. So here's the slope. Now, if I'm given a graph, how do I find the slope? Well, on a coordinate plane, I can just use the rise over the run. So I would rise it and then run it. So I rise 3, run 6. That's like saying 3 over 6, which is also 1/2. Okay, so that is the slope or the steepness of that line. If I didn't like using the graph, I can use the chord or the ordered pairs. So I use the slope formula. 6 minus 3 over 7 minus 1 gives me 3 over 6, which guess what is the same thing as 1/2. Alright? So again, changing the y values over changing the x values, the rise over the run, all the same thing. So let's try number 1 here. It says find the slope of the line through the following points. Now remember slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I need to find slope here. So I'm going to look at my y values. 7 minus 5 over, now I'm going to do my x values. 4 minus 2. 7 minus 5 gets me. 4 minus 2 gets me. 2 over 2 gets me. Hey, my slope there is 1. Alright. 2, same idea here. Subtract my y values. Negative 2 minus 4 over, now I do my x values, 3 minus a negative 1. Now what's negative 2 minus 4 going to get me? Negative 6. 3 minus a negative 1. 2 negatives give me a positive. So I have negative 6 over positive 4. Negative 6 over 4 simplifies to negative 3 over 2. There's my slope. And then number 3. I have my y values, 7 minus 1 over my x values, 6 minus a negative 2. 7 minus 1 gets me 6 minus a negative 2. 2 negatives get me a. So 6 plus 2 is 8. 6 over 8 gets me 3/4. So I have 1, negative 3 over 2, and 3/4. Alright? So again, slope, the big key to slope is using the slope formula. Rise over run, changing the y over changing the x. Take a couple seconds now to try these 4 on your own. Again, slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So take a few seconds, try these 4 on your own. Alright, let's look at number 4 here. I want to find the slope. Claire, what's my slope going to be? Nice job, negative 1 over 5. Now some of you might have worked it out and you might have said, well, I got 1 over negative 5. Claire, what's wrong with that answer? Yeah, you don't associate negatives in the denominator. So what do we do instead? We write it as negative 1 over 5. Or if you wanted to, you could write it as negative out in front 1 over 5. Same thing, but that's just kind of semantics of math. You kind of have to write things certain ways. So yeah, negative 1 over 5 is correct. 5. Chris, what'd you get for 5? It is not negative 1/3, because it's actually going to be negative 3 over 5 or positive 3 over 5? Negative 3 over 5, yep. So you get negative 3 over 5 there. 2 minus 5 over 4 minus the negative 1. So you get negative 3 over 5. 6. What did you get for 6, Brock? Ooh. 1/3. Now notice on this one, I would do 1 minus 8 over negative 14 minus 7. So 1 minus 8 gets me negative 7. Negative 14 minus 7 gets me negative 21. Two negatives get me a, so I get the positive 1/3. 7b, so what did you get? 2. Nice job. 8 minus 0 is 8. 4 minus 0 is 4. 8 over 4 gets me 2. All right, so that's slope. Now, why are we talking about slope in geometry? Well, because you need to know it in order to find parallel and perpendicular lines. So we're going to talk now about the geometry concepts of slope, and that's with relationship to parallel and perpendicular lines. The key: parallel lines have the same slope. So notice here, these two lines are parallel, so they're going to have the exact same slope. Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have what we call opposite reciprocal slopes. All right? What that means here is, what's the opposite? So if it's positive, what's the opposite of a positive? Negative. What's a reciprocal mean? Nope. Reciprocal is where you what? Flip it. A lot of times you hear me say the refliprical. Why? Because you're flipping a fraction. So notice here I had a slope of negative 3. So I change the sign, make it positive, I flip it. Now my slope is 1/3. Those are opposite reciprocals. For example, let's say I give you a fraction of 2/3. What would the opposite reciprocal be of 2/3? No. Negative 3 over 2. Notice I change the sign and I flip it. Okay, opposite reciprocals. What if I give you a problem that's like negative 4? What's the opposite reciprocal of negative 4? That would be 1 over 4. Opposite, change the sign, reciprocal. Alright, so here's what we're going to look at here today. It says determining parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Alright, so AB and CD. So AB here, I want to find the slope of AB. So to find the slope of AB, I'm going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 5 minus 1, 4, right? Over 1 minus 2, negative 1. So 4 over negative 1 really is going to get me negative 4. Does everybody agree with that? Now I'm going to do the next for CD. So I'm going to do my y values. Negative 2 minus 2 over 5 minus 4. Negative 2 minus 2 gets me negative 4. 5 minus 4 gets me negative 4 over 1 gets me negative 4. So I'm looking at these slopes. Is that parallel, perpendicular, or neither? That'd be parallel. Perpendicular is if it's negative or opposite reciprocals. So we'll look at those here in a bit. We'll look at an example. So let's try 9. Same thing here. I want to do ST. So I want to find the slope of ST. Negative 1 minus 2 over 5 minus a negative 2. Negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. 5 minus negative 2 gets me really 5 plus 2, which is 7. So I have negative 3/7 there. Next, I'm going to do UV. So I have negative 4 minus 4 over negative 1 minus 3. Negative 4 minus 4 is negative 8. Negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. Negative 8 over negative 4 really gets me positive 2. So those slopes, are they the same slope? No, so they're not parallel. Are they opposite reciprocal slopes? No, so that one is just neither. That is neither parallel nor perpendicular. Just neither. And the last one here. Y values, 2 minus 1, over 2 minus 1. I get 1 over 1. What's 1 divided by 1? 1. Okay. Next one here. 2 minus 1 over 1 minus 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. What's 1 over negative 1? Negative 1. Are those the same slope? Are they opposite reciprocal slopes? Yes, they are. So that means these are then going to be perpendicular.
So would it just be like opposite, or would it be like
Opposite reciprocal. So for instance here, if I want a perpendicular, let's say my slope was 2/5. It'd be negative 5 over 2.
what if it's just opposite?
Then that would just be neither one then. It has to be both opposite and reciprocal. Alright? Using that same idea, take a couple seconds, try these two on your own. Again, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Same idea, try these two on your own. So number 11, I need to find the slope of CD. So 1 minus a negative 3 over 1 minus a negative 1. Really gets me 1 plus 3 over 1 plus 1. 4 over 2, what's my slope there going to be? 2. EF, 3 minus 1 over 0 minus a negative 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. 0 plus 1 gets me 1. 2 over 1 is 2. Parallel, perpendicular, or neither? What do you say, Chris? Those are parallel. 12. I need to find UV and XY. What's the slope of UV going to be? Colton, what's the slope of UV? UV has a slope of what? 3. Sorry, I didn't hear you say that. Nice job. Then you find the slope of XY. Blake, what's the slope of XY?
Negative 1 over 3.
Very good. So, Clark, parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Those are perpendicular. Why? Because they are opposite reciprocal slopes. Nice job. And that's it for today. So slopes, parallel lines, perpendicular lines, those 3 things. Here's your assignment.